back and we love him. So let's get into our Father's Day edition of The Daily Dish. Today, Chef Randy is making roast beef with Tom Spuds, and that's with the help of his own dear dad. Here's what you're going to need to follow along. 5-pound roast, prime cut, kosher salt and black pepper, Dijon mustard, rosemary, thyme, potatoes, onion, butter, and olive oil. Okay, Randy and Mr. Feltis, and by the way, this is Mr. Feltis of Feltis Farms maple syrup fame, my favorite syrup.
It's a true story.
I love the fact that you're doing this recipe together. Where do we start, Randy?
You know what, whenever it's Father's Day and I'm cooking for Dad, Tracy, I have to go back to the old school meat and potatoes, you know. This is actually a beef roast from our farm, so Dad actually raised this. I might have helped, no, I didn't help at all. I try not to help so much. So basically what we want to do with this is we're kind of using the method X that we do indoors, but we're taking it outdoors. So we're going to hit it hard with 500 degrees, and then we're going to kind of cook it at low and slow. So we're going to start with some aromatics. We're going to put some rosemary in there. We're going to put some thyme in there. Dad, you want to crank some pepper on there? And then we'll get some mustard as well. So this is it's not really necessary because Dad, not only does he make the best beef in the world, he makes the best maple syrup as well. A little salt, just chuck it in there. But we do want to put something kind of flavor on there. And then we're just going to rub that all around. Now, if you're at home and your roast isn't 5 pounds, that's okay. If it's 4 pounds, this method's really simple. It's mathematics. So if you cook it at 500 degrees for 5 minutes per pound, just lift this up for me, Dad. You can see we're at 500. Got our Napoleon cranked up here. We just put that down. Oh boy, that sounds good. And 5 minutes per pound. So Tracy, how many pounds are you normally cooking when you're cooking at home?
Randy, I'd say on average about 4 to 5 pounds, so about the same size roast that you're preparing right now.
Perfect. So if you're at 4 pounds, then you're at 20 minutes, and if you're 5 pounds, then you're 25 minutes. And then what you're going to do is you're going to turn it down to 200 degrees. And if you have a Napoleon, you can just put some smoking chips in there. And now you can smoke it to put some extra flavor into it. So what we need to do now is my dad's famous potato recipe. My father also grew up on a potato farm, so there was an inside joke with all my friends. We had to eat potatoes at every single meal, and he still does. So we've got some olive oil in there, and then we're just going to hit it with a little bit of garlic, some onions, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, and then Dad, what's the secret to making these potatoes so perfect?
Okay, what we do at home is we cook them for every 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. We turn them over.
Exactly, but I was thinking that you were going to say it was butter. Even though there's olive oil on there,
you got to have butter. You
got to hit it with some butter, and you can't overcrowd the tin foil, right? And then, Dad, if you could just kind of wrap those up the way you do. This is really important. You want to keep it super tight. You can't overload it. And then what Dad was saying is the first time you put it on the grill, Tracy, you can go 4 minutes, but then you have to set your watch and you have to flip it every 2 minutes. So that goes on for exactly 20 minutes, so you're basically flipping them 9 times. And what's going to happen is in the beginning, the butter's going to melt and the olive oil is going to melt, and then they're going to poach slightly because of the moisture in the potato. And then once that liquid's kind of gone, that's when you have to keep turning it. Is that tight enough, Dad?
Should be tighter.
Because if there's any loose ends, it's not going to steam and cook. High heat for the first 4 minutes, and it goes. You going to set a timer?
Set a timer.
Set a timer. So 4 minutes, you're okay for the first one, but after that you flip it every 2 minutes. This means, Tracy, you need a full beer, and you need to be standing here for 20 minutes. So make sure you're prepared.
Here's what I think is so cool. Once a parent, always a parent. You bring your dad on TV with you, and he's just still a dad, and I love to see that. You're like, is this tight enough? No, it is not tight enough. I've got to rewrap it again. So it's I love seeing that. I love seeing the realness. It's amazing. Thank you so much, Randy and Mr. Feltis. So
no problem.
Him and his pops will be back a little bit later in the show to serve it all up. For that, so earlier he showed us how to make this delicious dad-approved dish. Now we're going to talk about how to make the meal even more special. Am I right, Randy?
Absolutely, Tracy. So you know what? When I was growing up, we always had to have some salad or some greens with our meat and potatoes. And Dad always loved the Catalina dressing. I don't know if it was the same in your household, but in my household, it was always on the table, the Catalina. And as a kid, Tracy, I would stare at it and look at it and be like, I don't know about that. I don't know what's going on there. Did you have it at home, Tracy?
We had the Catalina dressing from time to time. Yes, we did.
So I thought it'd be cool, because I make my own dressings. I don't have those jars at home, to make a Catalina dressing for Dad today. So you know what that secret ingredient is? You want to give that a sniff?
Smells good.
You know what that is?
Some ketchup.
That's ketchup. That's the secret ingredient right there. A little bit of ketchup. That's why the old man likes it. It's full of sugar. I got some pepper there, a little bit of salt, and then we're going to hit it with the good stuff. We got some extra virgin olive oil. You know, if you love your dad, make sure you're getting the really good extra virgin olive oil. Some Worcestershire, which is always going to be the secret behind any salad dressing. Some red wine vinegar. And then some paprika. This is like, you know, just everything red is going in here, because we need that blisteringly red Catalina dressing. And you know what, Dad? You're not completely off the hook. Shake that up for me, all right? Just keep shaking it. So there we go. Dad's going to help me make the Catalina. I've got his favorite lettuce, the iceberg lettuce, you know, the old school head, just super crisp. And then I just made a slaw out of some vegetables from the garden. So we've got some carrots in there, some radish, a little green onion, and that kind of stuff. So we're going to put that on top. How'd you do?
Good.
Does that look about right?
That looks good.
So then, check this out. We just give this the, oh, Dad's getting excited now.
Isn't that something?
That does look good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Can't beat it.
All right, so there's a little extra on the side in case you need it. Now let's move back to the potatoes. You remember our Uncle Tom spuds? They're off the grill. How many times did we turn these, Dad?
Yeah.
A lot. So what you're going to do
5
times is just cut a hole in the bottom of the tin foil, and then you just shake them out. And there they go. A little bit of the onions caramelized. Because it's last year's potatoes, that starch is slowly turning into sugar, so we get a little bit of sweetness off of there. How does that look?
Pretty good.
Pretty darn good, right? Okay, now the beef. So we did the 2 minutes, the 5 minutes per pound. If you take a look, oh my, juicy and pink. And I'm just going to go right into this and carve this up. And you know what? I think Dad likes a little bit of a thinner cut, but he likes multiple. So we're going to go 2 cuts on here, like that, right? We'll put that on your plate just like that. Doesn't that look good,
Looks
Dad?
good.
And then we get some of these Uncle Tom spuds here, like this. And then for the wedge, you know what? We just take our knife, and you just cut this thing open like it's a pizza. We just layer that down there.
Beautiful.
Yes. And then I'll get you a little bit of this going right here. And that is it. Happy Father's Day. Thank you for keeping me out of jail. Hey, there was enough salt on there already. He likes his salt.
The meal looks amazing. I like the fact that you've done some very special plating just for Dad. It looks incredible. And of course, cityline.tv for the whole recipe.